What's up, guys? This is DDP here for a quick episode of Feeling Dangerous. I know that I am running around on the fly, running around like a madman, but that happens sometimes. I've got an event later this evening for Dallas Sports Fanatic that I need to attend, and that's cutting this episode a bit short, especially when you consider, I almost said Infinity War, Endgame being 3 hours long. I pretty much got out of the theater, came straight home, and set up to do this. So it is what it is. But wanted to drop in real quick, talk a little bit about the other content we got on tap here. We're going to be talking a little bit of Dallas Stars, a little bit of, if I got time for it, we're going to get into the WNBA actually a little bit with the Dallas Wings. They'll be setting up soon. And, yeah, we got some Cowboys draft talk too. Marquise E, what's up? Rangers King 669, what's good? Bigger Mike, what's up? You remember me from the WrestleMania stream you did with Sports Fury? Yes, I think I do actually. What's up, man? Appreciate the sub and the dropping in on the chat. T Yuli, what's up? So let me dive in real quick first. I'll be brief, but I want to talk a little bit about the Dallas Stars. Dallas Stars are in the second round of the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. They are facing with the now favorites to win the Stanley Cup, the St. Louis Blues. In Game 1, they got beat 3-2 in St. Louis. A little bit of a disappointing loss for sure. They fell behind 3-1, were able to rally to 3-2, but couldn't quite get over the hump. They didn't really get a lot of shots on goal in that game, and it felt like St. Louis kind of just outplayed them. You didn't see much of that in the first round against Nashville, so that was an ominous sign. But what I like about this club is their resilience. They don't let this stuff bother them. They came out, and in the first period of Game 2, it was a completely different story. You had a stretch. I mean, Dallas goes up 3-1 in this game, first of all, but you had a stretch at one point where the Stars scored twice and the Blues scored once, all in a 1-minute stretch. Like, that's one thing that I love about hockey is, you know, it might not be high scoring, but you can still have these crazy bursts of scoring, especially with the Stars in recent years, where they can just lay 2, 3, 4 goals on you in the blink of an eye, and it's just like, holy shit, what's going on? So, great game for the Stars. They go up 3-1. They were able to go, hold both sides scoreless in the second period, and then in the third frame, the Blues get a little bit of a controversial goal early. I think it was probably the correct call to let the call stand to make it 3-2. And it gets just crazy because the rest of the period is just the Stars trying to hold on for dear life. And another thing I love about hockey, not just the idea of like, hey, when you're trying to win a game, you don't have to have a goalie out there, right? You can pull your goalie at the end if you're trying to score. And the Blues had a 2-minute power play with a 1-man advantage in the final 2:45, so all but the final 45 seconds, they were already up a man. And then when you pull your goalie on top of that, they had a 6-4 advantage on the ice. And when you're defending a 1-goal lead on the road against the current Stanley Cup favorite, that is serious cojones for the Stars to win. Stars win 4-2 in this game because with like 5 seconds left at mid-ice, they steal it from St. Louis. And the Stars rookie, whose name slips my mind presently, flips it in from mid-ice, puts the Stars up 4-2 with 3 seconds. Stars win this game, tie up the series, and now they're coming back to Dallas with the split, which is really all you need if you're the underdog in a playoff series. So, man, if you're not watching the Stars at all, and don't get me wrong, I'm not by any means a diehard hockey guy. I'm not a diehard hockey guy or baseball guy. On those two sports, I will fully admit my viewership is tied to the team being good and generally in the playoffs as well. And that said, you can't take it for granted. Like, the Stars are doing some really nice things here. Definitely worth checking out. They're a good team, and I think they've got a pretty good shot to go at least to the conference finals. But we'll see. Pivot real quick now. Mitch the God Trubisky, what's good? Saw in-game Friday night and this morning. Very nice. Twice already. I'm definitely going to have to go. Again soon. Rangers King, was it Heiskanen? No, it was not Heiskanen. It was another rookie for them. His name's also with an H, but it was not the Luka Doncic mirror image on the hockey side. But the rookie had 2 goals. He had the first goal and the last goal that, forgive the pun, iced it at the end. I'll look up the name of the guy now so I can give proper credit. Elsewhere, we had the NFL draft. I was dealing with a wedding as well this weekend. That's why I've been on the fly dealing with that. So I haven't been able to cover that even as in-depth as I would want. Cowboys don't have a first-round pick. We know that was the Amari Cooper trade. Hey, that worked out rather well for them. I think they're okay with that trade-off. Then additionally, they, in the second round, take Tristan Hill out of UCF. Tristan Hill is a very talented player, tons of untapped potential, but there is some risk associated with him because we don't know. His attitude has been a question mark, and his attitude and his motor have kind of come into question at times, and that's led to questions like for part of last year he didn't even start. Who was it? Heinz is who scored for the Stars 2 goals. Heinz, Hintz, left wing. But, yes, so Tristan Hill, the dude was a shopwrecker for them 2 years ago when they had their national championship year in which they got snubbed for the playoffs and then laid the wood on whoever they faced in their bowl game. And he's a high potential player, and considering this team, they've laid out the formula. I know a lot of people said they wanted a safety. I was among those people. But there is no denying, if you look at recent years, their formula holds pretty true to form. They will look at what cost us the year before. 2 years ago, they said, middle linebacker, when Sean Lee was out, we got eviscerated in the run game. And Tyron Smith, when he wasn't healthy, our offensive line got murdered. Atlanta 2 years ago on, that season was never the same. And it messed up Dak for a long time too. So what did they do that next year in the draft? First round, LVE. Second round, Connor Williams. They addressed those 2 needs immediately. So what happened at the end of this year? They got run all over. They still got footprints on their face from where the Rams ran it down their throat. I mean, it was brutal. 200 yards, giving up 100 yards to C.J. Anderson. Oof. I mean, Gurley I can kind of understand, even though he wasn't even 100%. But you let, chubby C.J. Anderson run for miles on you, that's bad. So what do? They finally go out and they get a potential real difference maker at defensive tackle. Now, we like the guys that they pick up off the scrap heap. They tend to find value and quality there. I think Anton Woods is a very good player for them. Do I think he is a difference maker? No, I think he's a solid rotational player in that defensive line. But they went out and they got a guy who at 58, graded as well as any defensive tackle in the combine, and who has tons of untapped potential. If you can keep him and his work ethic online, which Rod Marinelli made him sign a work ethic contract, whatever that means, if they can keep his head right and they can keep him focused, he'll be good. He'll be damn good for them, I think. Even last year when he wasn't starting for UCF, when he played, he was a shopwrecker. He blows up plays. He doesn't just plug up the hole. That's not what they ever look for in their defensive tackles. They want guys that can push the pocket back and collapse it from the middle, and he can do that. So that's a solid pick for the Cowboys there at 2. Third round gets a little weird at pick 90. This has led to a lot of discussion. They go with a guard out of Penn State who I'm blanking on his actual name right now, which is kind of embarrassing because I had it in the forefront of my mind moments ago. But they take the guard, and the reason that's confusing is because Connor Williams, we drafted the tackle Connor Williams last year from Texas, put him in at guard, and so people are wondering, what does this mean? You don't take a guy there if you're not going to play him. What are they trying to tell us about the rotation as far as their plans? What this tells me is one of 2 things. One, it's insurance for Lyle Collins next year. They cannot afford to pay another offensive lineman. Anyone, they're already paying Tyron, they're already paying Zach, they're already paying Travis. They can't pay another. Lyle Collins has been just okay for them at right tackle. I would argue he should have never been a tackle for them in the first place, but it is what it is. They made their bed. They're going to lie in it. He's being paid as a tackle. You're not going to move him to guard. And as a result of that, he's going to be gone next year. And in his place, they're going to move Connor Williams. It's been said now. Their plan is to move Connor Williams out to right tackle. He's a little bit short-armed for a tackle, typically, as far as the pros are concerned. But he was a left tackle at Texas, only gave up 1 or maybe 2 sacks in his entire career. And now he's going to be moved out there. That's going to be good for the team. And now they're going to take the Penn State kid and plug him in at guard where Connor was at left guard. Maybe as soon as this year, if he somehow wins the job, I would not be shocked if they trade La'el Collins at some point. But they're going to see how he does, and that's going to change kind of the equation. So I like the couple moves right there. It opens some things up for them. It keeps them young, and the guy they got as well out of Penn State, he grades out very well. He is great as... there it is, Connor McGovern. I looked it up. Connor McGovern... he is a guard or a center. He can do both. He's multi-positional. So it gives you insurance for Travis Frederick as well, and it gives you another guard to then move, I think, Connor Williams out to where he would be best suited. 4th round. I'm going to be quick with the next rapid fire here. Yes, Jason Bryant, thank you. 4th round, we move on to Tony Pollard, a wide receiver / running back, more so running back, out of Memphis. The dude is a kickoff and punt return specialist. I think he had 7 kickoff returns for touchdowns at Memphis. Great speed. I don't think he's a polished route runner, so I think he's mostly a returner for them, which is a big need for us. Tavon Austin has a reputation of putting it on the carpet, and obviously Cole Beasley is now gone to Buffalo. He was never a great return man anyway. He was at least pretty sure-handed. So there's your answer there. I think that's more of a return man than anything. I don't think he's going to push for anything. But you know what? He can be that trick-up secondary back, the kind of the Lance Dunbar type that they like, third down back. As well, you could get a little bit of that Lance Dunbar mold out of him as well behind Zeke now. So yeah, he'll have a little bit more to him than just kickoff return. I guess I undersold him a little bit there. But that's a good pickup. Then they pick up a defensive end out of Miami, Joe Jackson, in the 5th round. Dude did work. At Miami. I don't know ability-wise what his ceiling is going to look like in the pros, but I know in college he had a really good resume. He had something like 24 sacks in 39 career games, I want to say. So the guy gets out of it, or gets after it. It's a raw prospect, probably just a guy in the rotation or a depth guy, anything significant. But for where you're getting him in the 5th round, pick 165, not bad at all. Then they finally in the 6th round go safety. Look, I would have liked a safety earlier too. I've been clear about that. I think safety is a big need for them. They don't have a ball hawk. The secondary never got burned last year, at least not really. But they don't have a ball hawk, a guy that can get them the ball, and that's going to hurt them. That's going to still limit the defense and how good it can be. My belief was when you didn't get Earl Thomas, it's because you were going to use a 2nd round pick on a safety. They didn't do that, even though they took Tristan Hill, despite the fact that 3 of the 4 names they really wanted at safety were there. That's pretty impressive. Thornhill was there, Rapp was there. I guess it was just those 2 who were still there at safety. But you had 2 top-tier safety caliber guys there, one of which is a ball hawk, Thornhill, and they went with the defensive tackle. Again, I think it's probably a higher need for them. Defensive tackle and safety have both been positions kind of ignored by them and neglected by them. Really, not even just Jason Garrett's tenure. You can date back. Russell Maryland was the last defensive tackle taken in the first 4 rounds by them, I believe. And Roy Williams was the last safety taken by them in the first, I think, 3 rounds. And that, obviously, in Roy Williams' case, dates all the way back to 2001. So it's just the Cowboys in general, for whatever reason. They take Donovan Wilson, Texas A&M safety there, pick 213. Rounding it out, they take another running back out of Ohio State, Mike Weber. And then Jalen Jelks, an edge rusher, I guess, from Oregon. It just says edge. So 7th round, pick 241. I give the Cowboys a B- for the draft. I think they got 2 to 3 immediate contributors and a couple guys that are just depth and a couple guys who are nothing more than kick the tires. Let's see about prospects. Where the Cowboys are good, and this is the Will McClay influence, real quick before I wrap up this segment, where they are very good is in getting guys who can be there free agent signings who didn't get drafted, undrafted free agents, bring them in and find something. They are really good at that level of it. And that's even before Will McClay. Tony Romo was one of those guys. Miles Austin was one of those guys. I mean, they can find talent like that. And as a result, there's still a chance that this draft class might look even better in our eyes, just in terms of what we're able to bring into camp and what we can make the roster look like moving forward. So there'll be more discussion to be had there. At some point, I'll do a segment with James where we go a little more in depth, I think. But for now, that's going to kind of sum up the Cowboys talking points here from the draft. Let me do a quick run through and the comments get caught up, and then I'm going to jump into real quick the talk on the wings. Bigger Mike, how do you think my Eagles did in the draft? I think the Eagles had a pretty solid draft. I have to take a better look at it, but I remember walking away thinking I think the Redskins' first round was phenomenal. I think the Giants, man, oof. I think the guy they took at 6 was like, wow, you didn't take Haskins there? Okay, that's a weird choice. And then at 17, I kind of felt the same way, like, oh, you reached for that guy too. I don't know what the Giants are doing, but I'm not that worried about them. Let them reach and fall in their face. Redskins I thought were phenomenal in the first round. Eagles I thought had a pretty good draft as well, but again, I need to look more closely at it. Sugar Daddy, what's good? XFL Dallas named former Texas State defensive coordinator Stoops' protege Chris Wood as defensive coordinator. Interesting. I'm curious to see when they give the team a damn name. All these XFL teams that are still just cities is getting a little bit tiresome. And I hope the XFL can last longer. I sincerely want to see it last longer. I hope it can last longer than the 8 games that the AAF did, because that was disappointing as hell how quickly that came unglued. The XFL, I think, is doing its homework and trying to set up stuff, but we got to see what they can do, man. We got to see if they can hold it together. And yes, once that rolls around, the XFL Dallas team will be covered on the Dallas Prospect as well. I worry about the Mavericks offseason with draft and free agency. Can you tell about the first draft pick? Can you tell about first draft and say if they can keep their first round or if Atlanta doesn't? Yes. Okay, so we find out on the 14th, May 14th. That's Tuesday. That's when the lottery ball day is, where you find out if we get to keep our first round pick. We got to land basically in the top 4 if we want to keep the pick. There's a chance, I think like a 20-something% chance that we still get to keep our pick. I know the numbers get really wonky, and maybe Max can correct me if he's still in the comments. But that'll give us at least somewhat hope to keep our pick. It would be great to keep the pick. I do think so. But at the same time, unless you're landing in that like top 3 range, I don't know that there's a ton of like real quality to be had in the draft. I know some people disagree. I don't think it has the depth of the last couple of years, but I do think there is some certainly quality you can add. And obviously, if you're landing in the top 3, you should be able to find that quality. So if it works out that way, great. The worst thing that could happen is we get like the 6th pick or something, or the 5th pick, and then we got to just hand it over to Atlanta anyway. That would really suck. But, you know, at least then the Luka deal is officially done. Luka and Trae Young are going to be tied together forever. Dallas and Atlanta will be tied together for the length of their careers. Who cares, man? Like, as long as they don't end up with Zion out of this thing, which, by the way, they couldn't get Zion from us anyway, because the only way Zion's not falling to 6, so it's not like they get Zion because of us. So I'm not worried about that. I look at it as, let's just wrap up our business with them. If we can keep our pick, great. I'll deal with one more year of speculation and wondering whether or not we're going to get to keep the pick or where it's going to go. And if we end up getting like the 6th pick or something and it goes to them, damn it, but fine, whatever. Let's close that chapter and move on. As far as the draft, I can't tell you anything more because I don't know if we even have our pick. There are a couple guys I'm interested in. I'm interested in Culver. I'm interested in Zion. Barnett. There's a couple guys there for sure that I'm interested in looking at, but I know there's plenty of dissent on that. As we get closer, we'll do a proper right show on it as well. Tobias Harris, he's going to take a lot of money. And I like him. I don't know that he's a guy I chase for a huge contract at this point. I like to get several solid bit pieces, so to speak, as opposed to the one lump sum player. I want to build out a complete team and not just a top-heavy team with 3 guys and then a lot of decent role players. But we'll see. Kimball Walker, He's very on ball. Would take the ball out of Luka's hands, but he is a phenomenal scorer. I have mixed feelings on him. My gut says probably not the best place to invest either, but he would be an exciting addition. Giants pick not looking so good. 6th-round pick already got shot. No, that's not a good start at all. XFL is likely going to announce team names and a TV deal. The rest of the coaches by the end of the financial quarter. Mavs have a 26.3% chance at keeping the pick. 6% odds at first. See, that's what Ranger King does. Max is on top of it. Always, always, always. Yes. Let's see. I might do a show tomorrow as well because this is turning into a really condensed show. My event for Dallas Sports Fanatic is at 6. It's already 5:20 basically. And I got to get from Denton all the way to, I think, Plano? Yeah. So I might have to do another show on that. Real quick, some quick notes from the Dallas Wings, the WNBA team for Dallas. Let's see. The WNBA announced a new TV deal. Max, don't worry. I still have all those clips you sent me. I will be throwing them up on, I think, tomorrow's stream. I'm going to do a stream tomorrow so I can give this a proper full segment. But we're going to give you some clips in the background here, show you some of the WNBA action. But they did get a TV deal here. Let me see if I can find the thing. Looking through the comment thread with Max here. Max, hit me up with the details on that TV deal. I did see that they got a major TV deal that's going to give something like 40 games on national television, which is great. Which is great for them for sure. The WNBA has struggled a little bit financially in recent years. It's been a money loser for the NBA as a whole, but it is still something that I think it's good to see. It's good to see it coming along like it has. It's coming significant strides in the recent years, and I think that's going to be good for it. Here's the thing. It goes off in the off-season of basketball, so if you really got the basketball itch, it's still a good product to watch. It still can be exciting product, and the Wings are one of the better teams. I mean, they have 2 top-tier players for sure. 40 games with CBSN. There you go. See? Rangers King, always on top of it. What do you think about Bull Bull? Asks Sugar Daddy. Bull, I think, is defensively, it would be a massive, massive issue for us. I would not be interested in pairing him with Porzingis and Luka, honestly. That's just me. He'll go somewhere just like Mo Bamba did, but I was more interested in Mo Bamba than I think I am Bull, just to be honest. But we'll see. Also, the clips are from NBA Live, just because I didn't want to risk a claim from the league. There you go. Fair enough. So, yes, I think it's going to have to wrap up this show. I know it's less than 30 minutes, and I hate doing episodes this short. But we get to talk on 2 or 3 different things. Again, I'm going to do a show tomorrow night, which is what, Monday night? Yes. I'll do a Monday night show, which is not my normal setup, and we'll do a extended edition of Feeling Dangerous, and we'll talk about more of this. Existing ESPN deal has 16 games, the All-Star game, and 19 playoff games. Also, the WNBA broadcast 20 other games live nationally on Twitter. There you go. So, yes, we'll be back to talk more about that, and we'll talk about all that tomorrow. I'll also open it up for some open forum if you guys want to ask random questions, make it a kind of open-end Q&A session. Let me know, but I got to roll, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate all of you. And I was about to hit my tagline, but I'm not on the right show for that. So, I don't know. I'm DDP, and I guess I've been feeling dangerous. Till next time, guys. Salute.